are you this morning? Thanks so much for joining Mornings with Luann and Tim. Boy, Katy Perry, I hope they're paying her tons of money because she's depressed. She cries every night now on her show, American Idol, bawling her eyes out. But
she looked amazing last night.
She's stunning.
That color?
Yeah, right?
I didn't like the heart. She's wearing a dress that had a big heart on the front. I wasn't a fan of the heart on the dress, but that fuchsia color.
You know what?
Whoever does her
cool colors. She's really good in cool colors.
Who does her makeup for that
I know.
show? She looks phenomenal.
Yeah, and she can look and carry off just about any look, I find. But Coda,
they all look good.
Yeah, Wade Coda was singing.
Who's he?
And he's one of the contestants.
Okay,
and his mom joined him on stage afterwards, and he talked about how his mom still to this day is working 2 jobs. She's always been the caretaker. She's, you know, always rallied and always been there for him and stuff. Well, Katy was just in tears. Just in tears.
There were some amazing performances last night.
Yeah.
The guys this year are kicking it.
Really?
Yeah. There's one young lady, I think she's 17 years old, who's like the next Kelly Clarkson. She's phenomenal. But then there's these 3 different guys that could just take it. I mean, seriously.
You know what? It must be because Jim's still watching. And Jim doesn't usually, like Jim, after the average Joe gets through, and then they start to actually compete.
He normally
like
stops.
When they're, then is it 20 and then 10?
They're at, right now.
Even like at 20,
top 20.
He usually just stops. Because he says then it gets competitive and stuff. And you know what? It's funny. I love dance shows. So the World of Dance with Jennifer Lopez. Oh my! You know what? I watch it just to look at her outfits and her makeup and how stunning she is. I want to punch her in the face. Just one time.
But Lou, how is the dancing?
Oh yeah, the dancing. I'm kind of the same. You get all these people who are just like, they have these big dreams and stuff, and you sort of fall in love with them and get weepy, and you know, they do a great job, and the judges are like, yeah. But then it comes down to the duels. They're doing the duels now.
Yes.
So one team, so say one group picks another group to duel against. So
French.
Now it's, yeah, I'm French.
I'm going crazy.
So now it's more like a competition.
Yes.
So now there's all the talk and there's all the, you know, the background, and oh yeah, Josephine was born in a hut in Macaro. You know what I mean? So they're like, it just so extends the show. It's like, just dance.
Just dance.
Just do the dance part.
I know when I watch,
so I'm kinda,
when I watch Idleback on PVR and those kinds of shows, actually, I do tend to sometimes fast forward past the personal stories. But then you see Katy Perry crying, and you go, "Why is she crying?"
Yeah,
and then you back it up.
I mean, I'm sure people who love it, diehard fans, that's one of the reasons they watch those shows. It's because of the backstory, and they put themselves there, and they think that maybe, like me, one day I could be a dancer. When I retire, that's what I'm going to do.
I'm sorry,
me and J-Lo.
Okay, then. So I just thought I heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey!
You can picture that, can't you?
You as a dancer?
Yes.
I could picture you as a dancer better than I can picture you as a singer. There's more hope for you in that front, I think, because you have 2 legs. At least you have 2 legs. That's more than you have as far as your voice.
I have a good start at least.
Hey,
I don't even have one voice.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, what? What do you mean?
Did anybody do anything for April Fools on you yesterday? Did anybody trick you?
No.
Okay. Keith
you
did. Yes.
Did he? He got you?
He
Good
got
for you.
this little thing, clear plastic that looks like a broken windshield thing.
Oh.
And he put it on the car. And I got in the car yesterday and went, when did my windshield break? How did that? No!
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I didn't love it.
I bet you didn't. I bet he did.
But I heard a story about what a mother did to her kids, which here in the Sioux, some guests on the show yesterday morning told me a story about one of the mothers did.
Oh, really?
Okay, so her kids had their own spoons. Each kid has their own, like, little, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so what she did was she took 2 bowls of cereal with milk and the spoons, and she put them in the freezer the night before. And then she put the dishes in the wrong places. So when the kids came down to breakfast, sit down for their cereal, that kid had his spoon.
Yeah, they were
so
swapped.
they went to switch their spoons to make sure they touched their spoons,
Yes.
and they were frozen in the bowl of cereal.
Oh my word!
I think that's funny.
Way to go, Mom!
Way to go, Mom!
That's a great way to enjoy your kids, right?
Another great way to enjoy your kids is to read them a book. Guess what? April the 2nd is Children's Book Day. It's a great excuse to read a book to a child.
I just bought my grandson, who's not even 2 months old yet. I bought him an Easter book.
That is
So cute. You know, with the hard pages. I'm like,
I know the
right?
Yes.
I'm in the kids' clothing now, the baby clothing, and I'm just like,
oh.
yeah, I'm just having a hoop.
The Baby Expo on Sunday.
Yes.
At the Bush Plain Museum. You should go for your grandchild. The reason that it's Children's Book Day is because today is Hans Christian Andersen's birthday. He was born in 1805. So this is my children's book that I'm going to but I advocate for this one. It's The Water Walker, and it's Joanne is local. She was on our show, Joanne Robertson. And the book is about that wonderful woman who recently passed away, Nokomis Josephine Mandeman. She walked hundreds of thousands of miles carrying her copper bucket to raise awareness about the importance of taking care of our water.
And this is like a local woman.
This is a great book. So anyway,
it's very colorful. It's a beautiful book. You should try and track it down.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. Happy Children's Book Day.
What's your favorite book?
You mean as an adult?
Yeah.
My favorite book that I've ever read in my lifetime was The Catcher in the Rye.
Really? I don't even remember that book.
No?
I don't think I read it.
Holden Caulfield and just his growing up and how, that was my favorite, still remains my favorite book.
Really, eh?
Yeah. Catcher in the Rye.
You know what? I have to reread it because I don't think that I read it in school.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I don't think so.
That's how I came across it. And then I discovered that I would take, when I was younger, I took passages from it and turned it into a monologue that I would use for auditions. And people would say,
what?
Where did that monologue come from? And I would say, I took that, I adapted Catcher in the Rye and turned it into a monologue.
That's so inspired.
Yeah, it was a cool idea.
That's excellent.
Back in the day, I was
Wow, I'm just impressed you can read.
It's also National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, so make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then read a children's book.
Or at the same time, but just don't get the pages all sticky. I hate that.
Peanut butter and jelly, do you love it?
Hate it.
You hate peanut butter and jelly?
It's about the texture thing.
Jam has texture. Jelly's just smooth.
But jelly, you put in the fridge.
Yeah?
And peanut butter's in the cupboard, so now it's hot and it's cold.
That's not texture.
No.
You're just a freak of nature. What's wrong with
No, peanut butter and jelly is not too bad. Peanut butter and jam.
That picture doesn't do peanut butter and jelly justice. That to me looks like cranberries and cream and
See, you know what? Like that's a perfect example of my issue. I bet that's raspberry jam. You're eating raspberry jam and there are more lumps and bumps in it.
That looks like a grilled cheese with cranberries.
Doesn't it? There are more lumps and bumps in raspberry jam, like the seeds you're constantly.
There are more lumps and bumps in raspberry jam than
Seriously, I don't eat anything raspberry. Nothing. Ice cream, yogurt, no raspberry. There's always that seed. Even if they say they took the seeds out, they're lying to you because there's always one. Like in the bottom, you're thinking,
what about the flavor? You like the flavor though?
Yes.
So you could, as long as there's no raspberry flavoring is fine. Yeah. Just no raspberry. Strawberries?
Put it better.
Blueberries?
I have blueberries every day in my smoothie.
Oh, okay then. All right.
Yeah. But you know what?
I don't know.
Like people, use a sieve.
Jim, I don't know how you've done it. How many years?
17.
Holy, that's a lot of not
He's going to heaven, for sure.
Speaking of relationships, 17 years you're so far. On this date in 1984, after 13 years of marriage, the Trudeaus called it quits. Remember that?
Wow. How many years were they together?
They were married for 13. She was 35 when they divorced. So she was 22 when they married.
Ooh.
He was 64 when they divorced. So he was 51 when they married. 51 and 22.
Oh, I didn't realize the age gap was that big.
Oh, yeah, 30 years.
Oh, my word.
She was Maggie Sinclair, little flower girl. Little
she
flower
was a little
power.
hippie. Yeah.
Little hippie, yeah.
Doing rock and roll.
That's when her picture left our house.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I ever showed you the picture. I have a picture of her holding Justin when he was born on Christmas Day, and it's to the Murphy family with our best guys.
No.
Yeah, because my mother loved that picture of Margaret holding Justin until the day that she took off with the Rolling Stones and went to New York. That picture went into a drawer, and we never saw it again.
I guess it's a good thing the picture didn't have her with a joint hanging out.
I have the photo now.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't.
I'd love to see that.
My mother never forgave Margaret Trudeau.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, my mother always had the hots for Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
I don't know, there was
Justin's another thing. What? Justin's hot.
Yeah.
Pierre, he was all baggy faced. Always, like very long.
Well, he was older.
Well, yeah, but still.
He was fit though.
Was he?
Oh yeah, he was an athlete, man.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I had no idea.
Hey, so the carbon tax comes in when?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay. So I just read something that says the average price of unleaded gas in Southern Ontario dropped by 30 cents a litre from October to February. Okay, so it went down 30 cents between October and February, and then in the next 6 weeks after that, it went up 20 cents a litre. Nothing to do with carbon tax.
No,
So once again, I just have to say that if they could get the gas prices in line, that's what's fluctuating. I don't mind the 4 cents a litre.
I'm the same. You know what? If I'm gonna drive a car, I'm going to. I am willing to pay to have
the luxury,
the pollution issue taken care of.
Yep.
But I'm not buying an electric car because I can't, because there's nowhere to plug it in.
Oh, that's something we have to work on too. Well, we'll get all of that done, Luann.
Okay, in this commercial break, so hang on.
We'll be right back with all the problems of the world solved in 1 minute. Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim, and live in the studio I have with me Jennifer Gerard and Dan Kelly from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. And I got to tell you, I'm a little overwhelmed. This is the national president right here. It's kind of cool that you're up here in the Soo.
Happy to be here.
You're in charge of the whole country for the Canadian Federation of Independent Business.
I work from coast to coast.
That's very impressive. Where are you based? Toronto?
I'm based in Toronto, but spend a lot of time in Ottawa. Originally from Winnipeg, though, so this feels very much like coming home to my home territory.
It's not unusual for you to see snow in the middle of April or the middle of June. So Dan, you spend a lot of time in Ottawa. That's because a lot of the work that the CFIB does for independent businesses and small businesses is lobbying with the government and advocating for businesses with the government.
You got it. I mean, since 1971, the Federation has been advocating with government. John Bullock founded the organization. He had a family tailoring business in Toronto, and one day the government proposed back in the late 60s to raise the rate of taxation on small companies, if you can believe it, to 50%.
What?
50%. Yes. So he panicked when he said that, and said that that would basically shut down his business, and other businesses across Canada started to organize other business owners from coast to coast.
Yes.
And that was the birth of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business.
He formed the federation.
He did. He realized that small companies needed an ongoing voice in Ottawa, at Queen's Park, to ensure that they were involved in the decisions, because prior to that, decisions of government were made by government itself, big unions, and big business. And small companies really didn't have a say in some of the policies that affected them. And even today, a lot of politicians, even well-meaning politicians, struggle to understand what it is to be a small business owner, some of the challenges, some of the wonderful things, but also some of the real roadblocks that businesses face to grow and expand and create jobs.
And Jennifer, I think more and more we're seeing it's coming to light that money talks a lot of these times with the government. So big businesses, they have corporations, they've got lawyers, they've got money, they've got resources that smaller businesses don't have. Exactly. So I'm assuming that as an advocate for smaller businesses, that's another role that the CFIB plays, is helping level the playing field for these people who've got big bucks and can really lobby the government. And how can a simple tailor from Toronto lobby the government on his own? There's strength in numbers, right?
That is precisely it. And that is where I come in. So on an annual basis, we meet with with each and every one of our members across Canada. So I look after the membership in this area. So I would meet with individual business owners in their place of business. I do a survey with them to get their opinion on what our priorities should be going forward. I make them aware of some of the changes that are coming down the pipeline that are going to impact their business, and provide them with the opportunity to give feedback on how we should be managing these things. So that all gets reported back to Dan, and he's the one that carries the message forward.
And to your point, we've just seen in Ottawa, where we're experiencing right now, that one company, SNC-Lavalin, had how many meetings with government? Hundreds of meetings, discussions with government at the most senior level, being able to get the Prime Minister on the phone, being able to get the Clerk of the Privy Council on the phone in minutes, and have their issues heard. And that's one large company. They have teams of lobbyists, these guys. Small firms individually, of course, could never do that. No. You know, a small company here in the Soo would not have the ability to have somebody full-time dedicated to their cause. And that's why CFIB really helps. The meetings with Jennifer, we have 200 colleagues across Canada, and those individual meetings we have with members are such a wealth of information that then I can take, our team of lobbyists can take, to ensure that our members' voices are heard at Queen's Park, in Ottawa, and increasingly at municipal level, like here.
And let's talk about at the provincial level right now. Okay, so this is a newer government. Things are changing, legislations are changing. It's always constantly changing. To be a small business owner and try and stay on top of all of those changes, very difficult, very tricky while you're trying to run your business. You guys have about, what, 400 staff, something like that?
400 staff across the country.
400 staff across the country, whose job it is to stay on top of those things, and as you say, Jennifer, report what's coming down the pipe. Because you have advanced knowledge of this, and you know all you know all the ins and outs, right? So that's
Jennifer, you were mentioning that one of the things that business owners really need is that tip sheet that you're providing them of which forms and regulations, especially with respect to labor legislation, they need to be aware of.
Yes, there have been many changes with respect to labor legislation provincially in the last year or two, going one direction, then going another direction. So very difficult for business owners to know what the rule actually is.
And some good, some bad. Some of these are changing in favor of small businesses. I know they've removed a lot of red tape and some of the bureaucratic hoops we have to jump through. But on the other hand, things like the carbon tax, the shortages of manpower, labor.
Yes.
Right? So there are changes to immigration policies. These are all things that people need to know about. So you got a tip sheet?
I do. So the one that
saves the businessman doing the legwork.
It certainly does. And it's something that we update every year, actually, because employment standards in particular are changing every year. So I can go through that with business owners. But more importantly, in addition to that, we have a business resources department, which is almost like an HR department for small business.
Okay.
So they could call and take that list and say, look, I think I have some of these things done, but that one I certainly don't have done. What do I do? So there would be a counselor who would go through those items one by one to say, here is a link, here is a template, this is what you need to do, so they can get it all taken care of.
Because if a business owner doesn't do that, they are sitting ducks if there's an inspector that comes in. If you don't have the proper policy or even the proper version of the employment standards rules posted in your business, you can get a $300 fine as a business owner. And so we want to make sure that our members, the small business owners, have these things ready to go. If they struggle to do that on their own because they are time consuming, our staff can help give them a leg up in terms of getting them done. So that's a big value add, we think, for a lot of small businesses in dealing with regulations, either federally, provincially, or municipally. We do an awful lot of that. But there are a lot of hurdles that have been thrown in businesses. In the face of business. You've mentioned a couple of them just yesterday. Of course, the carbon tax came into effect. This is a big deal for small business. Consumers are thinking about this because they saw the increase of the pump price, and they're thinking about their furnace going on here in April, and wondering how much they're going to pay in carbon tax. The situation for a business owner is much worse. When we did the math, you've heard the ads from the federal government saying that don't worry about the carbon tax, you're going to be getting more back in terms of a rebate through your taxes than you're actually going to pay in the carbon tax in the first place. It's very different for a business. When we did the math and looked at the total of the burden of the carbon tax, 50% of the cost is going to be passed on to small and medium-sized companies across Canada. Small and medium-sized businesses that are already dealing with 7 straight years of Canada Pension Plan premium increases. This is a lot. And the rebates that consumers are going to get are supposed to be larger than the amount they pay. For businesses, the rebates represent about 7% of the total rebate pool that businesses will be eligible. So they'll pay 50% of the tax, they'll get back about 7% of the rebates.
So now talking finances, that's in addition to the other, so we talked about the advocacy, the counseling that you provide.
Yeah.
You also do help with as far as savings and benefit programs and stuff too, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. There's quite an array. That is the other side of strength in numbers is buying power. So we are able to negotiate deals on credit card processing, telephone. There are business courses you can take online, payroll services. So we can negotiate preferred pricing for our members to access without having to lock into punishing contracts.
One of the most exciting deals on that front, Jennifer, is the deal we struck with MasterCard. CFIB is the only association in the world that is directly negotiated with one of the credit card companies for a lower rate. MasterCard, if you can believe it, they'll give you a discount as a merchant to process transactions if you have $400 million in MasterCard sales. Not total sales, $400 million in MasterCard sales. You'll get an even lower price if you have $1 billion in MasterCard sales, and their lowest rate if you have $3 billion in MasterCard sales. What's happened now is we totaled up how much our members collectively process in MasterCard, and it totaled up to exactly $3 billion. So now all of our members, the smallest little corner store, the local dry cleaner, the small restaurant, gets the same rate as some of the largest companies in Canada as a result of the bulk purchasing power that our members have collectively. That's the kind of thing that we're really proud to do on small business owners, because that puts real dollars back in their pockets. Those dollars can be used to improve wages in their business. Maybe the business owner can take a vacation, or perhaps the business itself could grow and expand if we're able to reduce their costs. Certainly it helps out an awful lot.
So, to steal another credit card company's slogan, membership has its privileges. So questions, if people have questions, if they want to learn more, I mean, we didn't even get to talk about what's going on in the local scene, really, Jennifer. Our time is running out, unfortunately. Yeah. But if I am an independent business person, and what you said here today makes me go, I want in. How do we find you?
Okay, well, I'm on LinkedIn, certainly. You can access our website, cfib.ca. I can certainly leave you my contact information. I have a business card.
CFIB.ca would probably do it, because that's going to lead us to our local...
You got it. You can click right there on Meet a Local Representative, and that'll take you to Jennifer.
Where are you off to here in Sault Ste. Marie today?
I'm speaking of the Rotary Club a little bit later. Going to meet with a few members, and then tomorrow in Ottawa to go and meet with a variety of government people. So.
All right, well, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, very nice to meet you, National President, Mr. Kelly, and always a pleasure to see you, Jennifer. You can come back anytime.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with Luann right after this on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Sometimes the seconds just fly right by.
Yes. When you're
Alex is trying to keep what?
Time means nothing here at ONNtv. Hey. Is it just me? No, it's not. Every day we come into work and we go to look at stories that are in the news, there's another case of sexual assault accusations against somebody famous.
Oh, my word. Me too.
David Blaine.
David Blaine, the magician.
2 people are accusing him of sexual assault.
That doesn't surprise me.
Really?
It doesn't.
Why?
I get a creepy vibe from him. I do. Isn't that weird?
Well, maybe because, I don't know, man, that's his act.
He's a magician. He's sneaky.
You got nothing up my sleeve.
Yeah.
No, I wonder if you can just make those charges disappear.
Nah.
But I don't know, like politicians, entertainers, everybody. There he is. There's David Blaine there. He's the guy who does things like submerges himself in I don't know, like a tank and goes buried alive underground. Yeah. He does all those like really freaky
wacky things. Yeah. He was suspended somewhere for not long enough because he's
not long enough. Anyway, I don't know. He's the latest on the one to get the charges.
And Joe
not
Biden,
charges, just accusing.
And Joe Biden too. You know, the guy hasn't even announced officially that he's going to run for the presidency of the United States of America. This woman. How come now?
He kissed my head.
And you know what?
He put his hands on my shoulders and sniffed my perfume and touched the back of my. Now I sound like a victim shamer.
Yeah, but you know what? It's inappropriate. And she said in an interview that I saw her in.
But why now?
She's not claiming sexual assault or assault. She's just saying that it's inappropriate, which it is. Absolutely. He's been photographed doing the same thing to other women.
Hands on shoulders, talking in the ear. Yeah. Just personal space, professionalism.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So my question is, how come now though? She really likes Bernie Sanders apparently.
Oh, so maybe that's how come now. I don't know. Talking about other complaints now, not sexual complaints, but customer service complaints. Who do you think gets the most complaints about services they provide? If I were to say, like, let's talk media or telephones or that kind of thing.
The most complaints. I would say cell phone operators. So cell phone
which
providers.
Company do you think?
Oh gosh.
Bell Canada gets the most complaints.
Well, they're kind of the only game in town.
Bell, Rogers, Cogeco, TELUS, Shaw has Freedom Mobile.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so here's the difference. Let's say, okay, Shaw, which is Freedom Mobile, 637 complaints average, okay? TELUS, 746. Ooh, double then. Cogeco, 790. Rogers, 915 customer service complaints.
Rogers, yeah, they have a tough go.
Bell, 3,034.
Really?
This one gentleman that's in the news right now, 5 months of fighting with them over an overcharge of $50 a month on a package he didn't want, that they sold him the wrong package. He went through every department, and everyone he spoke to said, "Oh, that's not us, that's billing. Oh, that's not billing, that's this, that's purchasing, that's but."
Bureaucracy.
Finally, he went to whatever that's. You know where you can go to complain about things.
Yes.
Yeah, them. He went to them.
The ombudsman.
Yeah, like that. And now and also you can go to those exposes the people who do bad things.
Yes.
Them. Anyway, now it's being dealt with, and Bell has said, "Oh, that was a very rare case."
3,000 worth. Not so rare, maybe.
I've had my issues with them too, with the packages and the wrong packages.
All of them, though. And it's convoluted. The contracts, you have to sign a contract, and then you have to read it, and you can't read it because it's all convoluted political.
And it's a telephone company who's supposed to have operators standing by to help you. It's like, our call volume is higher than usual.
Press 1, and then they play that.
Anyway, hey, what's going on? The news?
You know what? We're going to take care of news.
Ooh, we have local news? It was City Council last night.
Yes, we do. We have a couple of good stories, and then we'll have a couple of really good stories as well later on in our day today from City Council, so stay with us on TV. Welcome back. If you ever wanted to go to a Meghan Markle baby shower, and I mean, who doesn't? Her fans, people who like her, so love her. Okay, stop it.
I don't want to go to a Meghan Markle baby shower.
Lots of people do, though. Her fans.
They probably have good desserts.
Yes.
Okay.
And good tea.
I bring my styrofoam container and I take the desserts home from the baby shower.
You have styrofoam? I have foil.
Foil?
Yeah.
You can put foil in your purse?
No, I have the big pan. I don't put it in my purse. I just carry it in.
No, when you bring a foil pan to a baby shower and load it up.
I've only ever been to one. I wonder why they never asked me that. I don't know.
Anyway,
people on Twitter who love Meghan Markle got together and they're doing a hashtag Global Sussex Baby Shower. And what they're doing is, if you want to donate to the hashtag, they will forward the money to some of Harry and Meghan's favorite charities.
Well, that's nice.
In the name of Baby Sussex.
Baby they're calling it Baby Sussex for now until it's born?
You can't say it. It's a royal. You can't say it.
So
right?
you can say it, you just have to say it with a capital I.
You have to say king it.
Like highness.
Or queen
capital
it.
H.
Yeah.
It with a capital I.
So yeah, so the charities are
people around the world are donating.
Women's education, animal rescue, and children's charities. So good for them. Way to go,
are those
fans.
International charities?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Because I just don't think it's right if you're giving money and it's all just staying in England around the Sussex people.
Could you be more negative?
No, I like the causes of its children's and women's rights and women's education.
Kids in England don't matter as much as other kids? Is what you're saying?
They matter equally as much.
So what about
just like
women?
British women don't matter any more than Canadian or African women.
That's right.
So there's my point. I'm just saying, I don't want to donate to somebody who's just going to stay in England. I want it to go around the world.
Well, it's going to go around the world. Because it's on Twitter.
But sometimes I also like to donate to things that are going to stay in my community.
Well, I was just going to say, way to shop locally.
And sometimes you can do both. Like for my next interview.
How smooth are you?
The money goes like nationally and locally, and it's all for research, but also there's local stuff too. So you see, it's Daffodil month. It's April. It's Daffodil month. Canadian Cancer Society is my next guest. I'm looking forward to it. Because cancer touches all of us.
All of us, yeah.
Man, oh man.
You know what? No matter who you talk to, if they haven't had it, they know somebody very close to them who has had it, and it's just My father passed from lung cancer.
Mine passed from esophageal cancer.
And part of me wonders, like I was lucky enough to meet Terry Fox, and I read him a poem because I was a kid, and yeah, I was just thrilled with him. Yeah, he was so hot. But anyway, he was so cute with all those little sunburnt, his sunburnt little face. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Anyway.
But I think about how long ago that was, and I'm like, have we not raised money enough? Like, why is there still no cure or some? Although to be very fair, yes, to be very fair, Terry Fox, before he passed away, actually did say in one interview that had he had the cancer later in life that he would never have had his leg amputated.
Oh.
So we are making progress.
Hey, you know what?
And such a good cause. Like we said, it touches everyone. Buy the daffodils, for goodness sake.
And a big part of it too is education.
Yes.
People need to know about like listening to your body, knowing signs, getting tested regularly, because the earlier you find out if you have it, the better your chances are.
And you know what? Trust yourself. If a doctor's poo-pooing you and you know better, you know yourself well enough, you stand by yourself. You have to be your own.
You say, take your poo-poo elsewhere, doctor.
And buy a daffodil.
Yes.
We'll be back with more
on Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim right after this. Welcome back to Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim. Oh, look at the beautiful daffodils behind us, Alyssa.
Oh, that's lovely.
Thank you, Michael. This is Alyssa Garofalo Lake. I said that right?
You did.
Thank you. Alyssa's kind of a one-woman show here in Sault Ste. Marie with the Canadian Cancer Society. You run the office here in the Algoma District or Sault Ste. Marie?
The Algoma District. I'm the fundraising coordinator, but I do have help. I have some volunteers.
It's important, the volunteers. Well, that's the lifeline of your organization, isn't it?
Yes.
So wait, your district is all of Algoma? From where to where, like Wawa to Elliott Lake kind of thing?
Oh, we've got them all.
You got them all. So, and your office, I was asking you, is located Pine and McNabb. So there's the gas station on the corner of Pine, then there's that little office building. It's got like a dentist in it and stuff. And
yeah, we're at 390 McNabb.
And you're in the office Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Yes.
I'm just setting this up so that if people want to get involved with a Daffodil campaign, they can. They know where to go to pick up their kits to do things to raise money for the Cancer Society. Okay, let's start with why Daffodil Month. What's going on? What's the significance of it?
Okay, so what do you think of when you see a daffodil?
Spring. I think of regeneration and yes, hope and a light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. So it's resilient, right?
Resilience.
It's the first flower that you see in the spring. It's blooming no matter the weather, even our weather right now.
It comes through snow even sometimes.
It does. I've seen mine come out already in my front garden. I've got some daffodils. So it's strength, it's life.
Strength, life, and resilience.
Yeah, so it's really a symbol for everyone going through their cancer journey.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Nicely done.
I love the daffodil. Where's mine? Right here.
Yeah, there's mine. Okay, and thank you for mine. Where can we get these?
Oh my goodness, you're going to be able to get them at so many different places.
Really?
Yes. So we're going to have pin boxes right through the city. So you'll be able to just drop in a donation and grab a pin in numerous stores. We're also going to have door-to-door. So people will be coming with a canvassing book, various streets across the city, and they'll have some pins with them if you make a donation.
Okay.
My goodness, we have Paint the Downtown Yellow. We have all sorts of
Paint the Downtown Yellow?
Yes.
What's that?
Yeah, so I've just spoken with the Downtown Association, and we're going to be partnering with them. Have you ever seen those pads of paper that you can sign your name if you make a donation? Put it up in a window?
Yeah, sure. They have the drive-thrus a lot and stuff, right?
Yeah, so we have a beautiful daffodil, and we're going to be bringing that downtown, the whole strip. And if you put your name, if you make a donation, your name goes on it, and you'll go up in the window. So we're hoping that when you drive downtown, you're going to see a sea of yellow.
A sea of yellow.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know, this time of the year when the snow's all gray and brown and black and stuff,
we need a little splash of color.
We need a little splash of color, and we need some support too.
We do.
You must have a lot. So, do you know how many volunteers you manage? Do you have a number of that? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, but it really depends. So right now we primarily only have one office volunteer that's there with me all the time. Thank goodness, she is the best.
What's her name?
Teresa.
Thanks, Teresa. Thank you.
She's great.
Okay.
But we have hundreds of volunteers that come out for Relay for Life and our new Hogwarts event, for residential canvassing and for pin sales, both for Daffodil Month and for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Oh my goodness, we're so fortunate to have so many wonderful volunteers.
The city's really great about that kind of stuff.
Yes, they are.
The neighborhood canvassing, you still have packages available in neighborhoods that are still up for grabs, right? Because it's the whole month. This is only April the 2nd, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So we have the whole month left, so you can get a hold of Alyssa or Teresa and arrange to get a kit for your neighborhood, and they'll give you everything you need to go door to door to raise some money for Canadian Cancer Society. Talking about the money that you raise, research is a huge part of what the Canadian Cancer Society does.
Yes. Yeah, we're the only charitable organization that funds or supports all Canadians with all cancers in all communities. So we're the only one to fund over 100 different kinds of cancer research. It's just amazing everything that the Cancer Society is doing.
And our hospital does clinical trials here, you mentioned to me. That's pretty, we're pretty fortunate, aren't we, to live in a community where that actually happens?
Yeah, there's only about 80 hospitals that have those clinical trials.
And Sault Ste. Marie is one of them.
We are, the Algoma District Cancer Program at the Surrey Hospital.
And the money that we raise goes to the hospitals and allows us to have that kind of a program to run.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely affecting Suites. So you hear research, and that money is going nationally to the very best, the most promising cancer studies, so that your donor dollars have the greatest impact. But they're also coming back to Sault Ste. Marie. So that's not only just the clinical trials, but we also have a Wheels of Hope transportation program. So for those that need that extra support during their cancer journey, if they need help getting from their home to the hospital or to Sudbury, we have volunteer drivers. So
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
All those drivers are volunteers that do that? Mm-hmm. With their own cars?
With their own vehicles, yes.
You people are wonderful.
I agree.
Yeah. And then there's even more services you provide. You talk about support services that the Canadian Cancer Society. Tell me a little bit about that aspect of it.
Oh, so we have peer support. We have mycancerconnection.ca.
That one sounded really interesting. Tell me about that.
Mycancerconnection.ca. So we have all sorts of different avenues for people to research online. So if you go to cancer.ca or to My Cancer Connection, you'll see you have different options like peer-to-peer support. They can match you with another individual who has gone on a cancer journey as well, and you can just kind of choose your parameters and see exactly who you would like to be matched with, and if you ever need someone to speak with, they're there for you.
Okay. And then what about, is there anything with live daffodils? Does anybody actually buy live daffodils?
Not so much here in the Sioux anymore.
Okay. Well, I'm going to plant a daffodil anyway, just for the heck of it.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Well, no, just because now you told me that beautiful story about the resilience and all that kind of stuff, so I'll always think of that from now on whenever I see daffodils.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Have a lasting impact.
You do. So, once again, you're still looking for volunteers, obviously, or always looking for volunteers.
Always. We have a lot of shifts available for pin sales in the community. So whether it's Cambrian Mall or Pino's, we have a number of shifts that are available where you can sit for just 2 hours and sell some pins.
So just 2 hours, I mean even a week? 2 hours a week?
Oh yeah, just one shift even.
One shift, just one shift, whatever you can afford, whatever you can do, whatever you can spare.
Absolutely,
right?
it's so important to remember life is bigger than cancer, right? So a cancer diagnosis doesn't have to define you. We want to make your cancer journey that much more. We want to make sure that the research is going to where it needs to go, right?
And that you're supported through your journey, and that you're informed, and that you feel that you've got communication lines
and that you're living more fully. We don't want that to be just a cancer diagnosis, right?
Right.
Like I said, life is bigger than cancer. Your support is bigger than cancer. It's just so important.
I like Alyssa Garofalo-Lake. You're a great spokesperson for the Canadian Cancer Society.
I hope I do my part.
Well, okay, and now we can do our part too by getting a hold of Alyssa at the office. She's there Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Also, you can go online. I'm sure there's a phone number. How do we find you online? Is there a website? Like even a national one that we can find?
Cancer.ca, or again, best is just to give me a call.
Okay. Alyssa? Happy Daffodil Month.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, come back again. Give us an update. Let us know how it's going.
All right.
If there's anything else we can do for you. And we'll be back to say goodbye with Luann right after this.
Just before we go, we want to remind you that it's National Autism Awareness Day. Find out everything that you can about autism and see how you can help.
And maybe even write a letter to a politician to let them know that you don't agree with autism. Cuts to funding if you think that's important. And I just had to give a shout out to my friends Jesse and Jamie, who were a couple of the grassroots founders of the Algoma Autism Association Foundation. Algoma Autism Foundation. Anyway,
such great work.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching.